Hello, math students. Welcome to our new module on percents and proportional relationships. This is lesson 1, and it is called The Ins and Outs of Division. Our goal for today we are going to transform division problems in 3 ways. The question that I want you to think about in this lesson is, how do you know which number goes in the house? Okay. All right, so some things to know. First thing that we need to pay attention to and that we need to be aware of is we need to know the parts, okay? And the parts that I'm talking about is we need to know the parts of the equation. Since we're working with division, it's very, very important that we know each part of the division problem so that you can understand exactly what you should be doing with each part. So the number when the division problem is written, 10 divided by 5 equals 2, the number that is being broken apart is called the dividend. So the 10 in this problem is known as the dividend. And the dividend is the amount that you start with, or the amount that you have, and it needs to be broken into parts. Okay, so then the second number in this equation that is very, very important that you need to know is the 5, and the 5 is called the divisor. Okay, and the divisor is telling you how many groups you need to break the 10 into. So this says 10 divided by 5 equals 2. So that means 10 broken into 5 groups, and then in each group you need to have 2. So that leads me to show you that the 2 in this problem right here, yes, it is the answer, but another vocabulary word that you need to know is this is the quotient. Okay, now these are all math vocabulary words that are very, very important, that if you don't understand the difference of them, you could get very confused. So again, 10 is the dividend is the amount that you have, 5 is the divisor, and the divisor is the number that you're breaking the dividend into, and then 2 is the quotient because it's the answer to the problem. So a dividend is the total amount being shared or divided. Okay, the dividend is the total amount being shared or divided. The divisor is the number of groups to break the total into. The divisor is the number of groups to break the total into. And then the quotient is the answer to the problem, and it answers the question, how many 5s go into 10? Or how many blank go into blank? So this one right here where it says how many, the divisor is what usually goes on this blank right here, and then the dividend goes on the other blank because that's the total amount, okay? So the quotient is the answer to the problem, and it answers the question, how many blank go into blank, how many of the divisor go into the dividend, okay? All right, so now that you know what those words are and you know what they mean, here is the way that we show them. So the thing that you have to pay attention is you've actually seen them 3 different ways. The first way that you see is a house. That actually has a mathematical word, and it's called a vinculum. Okay, a vinculum, and we call it a house. We've been calling it a house since kindergarten, but the real mathematical term is a vinculum. So the dividend goes inside the vinculum, the divisor sits by the door, and the quotient sits on top of the vinculum. That's how you've seen it. Well, dividend divided by divisor equals quotient is exactly as the same as seeing it where you have the dividend fraction bar divided by the divisor. Okay, which is also the same as the dividend divided by the divisor. So the 3 ways that I'm trying to get you to see that we write them all the time in math is you will see this symbol, which is a vinculum or a house. You see the fraction bar, which is literally a fraction bar, or you see the division sign, which is the dot, line, dot. Okay, so those are the 3 different ways that we represent division in math, okay? The 3 symbols that represent division are, we have the vinculum, we have the fraction bar, or we have the actual division sign. And you need to know all 3 of those signs in order to remember that those are the division symbols, okay? All right, so now we're going to try it. It says, let's try it, division with whole numbers. Identify the parts, then write them in three ways. Okay, so 3 divided by 4. Well, 3 is the dividend, okay? Divided by 4 is the divisor, okay? So we identified the parts, and now it says write them in the three ways. So 3 divided by 4. So that means that we are going to write 3 divided by 4. So that's one way, right? Then we have to write 3 divided by 4. That's the other way. And then we have it one more time. 3 divided by 4. Okay? And those are the three ways that we're supposed to write them. Okay? So that hopefully makes sense to you. I'm going to use lots of colors because you know me and I like colors. So let's trade some out here and we'll do the next one. Okay? So now we have 1 divided by 2. So we're going to say the 1 is the dividend. Okay? Divided by 2, which is the divisor. Okay, so now we're supposed to write it in three ways. So we were going to say 1 is divided by 2, right? So we have 1 is divided by 2, and we have 1 is divided by 2. Okay, so those are the three ways that we have to write them. Okay, and the reason why we're writing them all three ways is because I want you to get very, very familiar with what is the dividend, what is the divisor, and then how do you write it. Okay, so now we're working on another one. So let me get 3 more colors. Let's see, I'm going to run out of colors very quickly. Here we go. So we have 105 divided by 3. Okay, 105 is the dividend, okay, divided by 3 is the divisor, okay, so now I have 105 divided by 3. Okay, that one wasn't so bad. So now I have 105 divided by 3, and last time 105 divided by 3. Okay, all right, so I have all of those written out. So you should be noticing a pattern that the dividend divided by the divisor, and then the same thing written 3 different ways with the vinculum, the fraction bar, and the actual division symbol. Okay, all right, so then the next thing, oh, we have one more to go, sorry. So this one, it says 205 divided by 5. So let's do this one. We're going to say that 205 is the dividend divided by 5. 5 is the divisor. Okay, so now I have 205 divided by 5. That's one way. Now I have to write it again. 205 divided by 5. That's another way. And the last way, 205 divided by 5 is the third way. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to see the pattern and you're starting to get very comfortable whether the numbers are large or small. So now we have 2 more piles of a little more and then some more. In the a little more section, it says division with whole numbers and fractions. So you have to be able to do the same process, whether they are whole numbers or whether they are fractions. Identify the parts and write them in 3 ways. Okay, so let's look at this one. 5 divided by 2/5. Well, 5 is the dividend, divided by 2/5 is the divisor. I'm not changing my color this time because I need you to recognize it even without the colors. So 5 divided by 2/5. So that's one way to write it. Then we have 5 divided by 2/5, right? And then the last way, 5 divided by 2/5. We need to be able to write it all 3 ways, okay? This is the fraction bar for division. All right, so let's try the next one. And let's go with this color. 3/4 divided by 2. Okay, so 3/4 this time is the dividend. And 2 is the divisor. So I have 3/4 divided by 2. I have 3/4 divided by 2. And I have 3/4 divided by 2. Okay, so those are the 3 ways to write it. All right, hopefully this is starting to make sense to you. 1/4 divided by, so 1/4 is the dividend, divided by 3 is the divisor. So I have 1/4 divided by 3. I have 1/4 divided by 3. And I have 1/4 divided by 3. Those are the 3 different ways of showing it, okay? I would like you to do this one right here by yourself. See if you can do it without me, okay? So you need to do 2/7 divided by 7. Label it the way that I have been and then show it in the 3 ways, okay? And the A some more pile, division with fractions. So this time we're going to have fractions in both positions. Identify the parts, then write them in 3 ways. Okay, so here we go. 5/9 divided by 11/13. 5/9 is the dividend. Okay, divided by 11/13 is the divisor. Okay, so now I have 5/9 in the house divided by 11/13. That's one way. 5/9 divided by 11/13 is another way. And then the third way is 5/9 divided by 11/13, the last way. Okay? So hopefully you're, again, using that pattern to formulate the correct equation so that we can write them in the correct format. All right, so now let's try the next one. 2/7 is the dividend, and 1/5 is the divisor. So I have 2/7 divided by 1/5. 2/7 divided by 1/5, that's one way. 2/7 divided by 1/5 is another way. And 2/7 divided by 1/5 is the last way. Okay, good job. Let's take a look at the next one. 3/5 is the dividend, divided by 5/9, which is the divisor. And so the 3 ways that we write it is 3/5 divided by 5/9. That's one way. 3/5 divided by 5/9. That's the second way. And 3/5 divided by 5/9 is the third way. Okay? So again, boys and girls, you need to make sure that you are following the pattern of what you are supposed to be doing, and the process is really easy. I do need you to do this last problem right here by yourself to make sure you've got it. And let's go back. Our last problem is 7/8 divided by 3/7, so you need to do that one on your own. Let's go back to our goal of our lesson for today. Today we are going to transform division problems in 3 ways. The question, how do you know which number goes in the house? And we have determined multiple times through many, many examples that the value or the number that goes in the house is always the dividend. So the dividend is what goes in the house, or the dividend is what goes in the vinculum, because remember, the mathematical term for house is actually vinculum. All right, that's all I have for you today. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.